let's start with the presentation today. Welcome again, everybody. My name is Umut Can. I am the program director for the Bachelor's program in Actuarial Science at the University of Amsterdam. We also have here Dr. Maurice Koster. He's the program director of the Bachelor's program in Econometrics and Data Science.
Hi.
Hi. And we also have a couple of current students. We have one student, Fadzai Jela from Actuarial Science, and we have Lobke Wilmink from Econometrics and Data Science. And Lobke is also the chairman of our student association, VSAE. So they will also share the students' perspective today with you. And we also have colleagues from the admissions office who can help answer your questions about admissions in case you have any. There is a Q&A tab. So if you have any questions during my presentation, you can already type your questions there. But there will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentations where we can discuss your questions and well, try to help answer them. Okay, a quick overview of what these programs are about. Actuarial science, well, let's start with actuarial science. It's all about applying mathematical and statistical methods to assess and manage risks in insurance, finance, and related fields. So that's a mouthful, but it's essentially risk management, financial risk management. So whenever you have a company managing big funds and they want to protect themselves against risks of big losses, you have actuarians working there, helping these companies. What's econometrics and data science all about? It's also about applying mathematical and statistical methods, but the focus is a bit broader. Basically, in econometrics, your aim is to understand or predict any kind of economic relation or dynamics. Just to give you some concrete examples of what an actuarial scientist or an econometrician might be working on, an actuarial scientist or an actuarian would, for example, help an insurance company determine how much premium to charge for a new insurance product, right? So suppose an insurance company wants to offer a new kind of insurance, maybe in cyber risk or climate risk, something like that, for companies to protect themselves against these risks. Then actuarians would help insurance companies to determine how much to charge for this insurance. And they would also help to determine how much reserves to set aside to cover any future claims on these insurance products. So that would be a kind of typical task for an actuarian. An econometrician, you can think of a situation like, suppose you work in a ministry and you are interested in predicting somebody's income level, yearly income, based on this person's gender and age and area of residence and education level and things like that, right? All of these things have an effect on the person's income probably, but how exactly do they influence the income? So if you want to understand this mathematically, you use econometric techniques basically. So those are some specific examples just to give you an idea of what the people in these fields actually work on. And you can see there is a lot of working with data, right? To answer all these questions, you need to work with a lot of data, and with increasing computer power, you can work with larger and larger data sets, which led to the emergence of this new field of data science, which is closely related with what we do in actuarial science and econometrics, so much so that, well, the econometrics program has officially renamed itself to Econometrics and Data Science from this year forward. So we also have a lot of data science in our curriculum, and you can actually choose for the track data science if you go for econometrics and data science. But we will say more about this in a couple of minutes. So this is what these programs are about. What are typical work areas for our graduates? Well, they are banks, insurance companies, pension funds, consultancies, all sorts of industry. So we have graduates working in airline companies, in supermarket companies, whatever. So in all sorts of industry, wherever people work with data and they need to analyze large amounts of data. you can find our graduates. A lot of government institutions, ministries, also a lot of startups. So our students end up in many recent startups using data science methods, or in some cases, our students also start their own startups. About the bachelor's program at UvA, it is a mostly joint program. So the program for actuarial science on one hand and econometrics and data science on the other hand, these two programs, they have a lot of overlap. And they actually, for the first 2 years, they're almost the same. So you take almost the same courses for the two programs. Only toward the end of your second year and then in your third year completely, you split into the two programs. So if you're still undecided about which program to go for, you can remain undecided at least until the middle of your second year or so. And by that time, you should know which one you want to continue with. These are quantitative and challenging programs. There's a lot of math and statistics and programming involved in these programs. They are challenging, but of course the payoff is also excellent in terms of finding good jobs, well-paying jobs, but also satisfying jobs. We also have master's programs available that you can continue on to after finishing your bachelor's program. So this is an example of these startups where our graduates end up in. So what you see is a newspaper article from 3 years ago, I think, about a new startup called PacMed. And this company uses basically data science methods to help hospitals and healthcare institutions to streamline their operations, to be more efficient, to cut costs, and so on. So this, well, some of our graduates have been involved in this startup since the beginning, I think. So just to give you an idea of where you might end up working. Here's another example. This is also a newspaper article, and this is about the National Railway Company here in the Netherlands. It's called NS. They recently hired a lot of people with, say, analytical backgrounds, such as our graduates, to make sure that there are fewer delays in the train's operations. And if there are delays, it doesn't spread too much in the network. And some of our graduates ended up working for the National Railway Company as well. So this is just to give you an idea that so it's not the case that you will necessarily end up working in a bank or a consultancy. So those are the typical places where our graduates go to, but the possibilities are really, so you have a broad range of possibilities. So the program of study, as I said, we have a mostly joint. So the first year is completely joint. So you take exactly the same courses in the first year. Both the actuarial science students and econometrics and data science students, they take the same courses in the first year, and also mostly in the second year as well. Toward the end of the second year, you start taking different courses. And in the third year, you split into either actuarial science or econometrics and data science. If you go for econometrics and data science, you choose one of the two tracks, either econometrics or data science. And after finishing the bachelor's program, you can continue to a master's program at the University of Amsterdam as well, and you will automatically qualify for, so if you finish the actuarial science bachelor, you will automatically qualify for the master's program in actuarial science and mathematical finance. If you finish the econometrics and data science bachelor, then you will automatically qualify for the econometrics masters here at UvA. You have, of course, other choices when it comes to masters as well. These are some of the master's programs you can follow at the University of Amsterdam. For some of these programs, you will automatically qualify. For others, you might have to take 1 or 2 specific electives in your last year to qualify for these programs. So you have a bunch of options, as you can see. And obviously, we will give you more information about master's possibilities towards the end of your bachelor's program if you do get admitted here. So let's get more specific. What does your first year look like in our bachelor's programs? So you can see that at UvA, the academic year is divided into 2 semesters, and each semester is divided into 3 blocks. Blocks 3 and 6 are shorter, they are 4 weeks each. The other blocks are 8 weeks each. Well, what you can see is that immediately from block 1 of your first year, you start with mathematics and macroeconomics, and then in block 2 you start with probability and probability theory and statistics and microeconomics, and it goes on like that. So what you can see is that you have a mathematics 1, mathematics 2, probability 1, probability 2, or statistics 1, statistics 2. There's also a programming course, and there's economics and finance courses. And there are the 2 introductory courses in blocks 3 and 6. So, as I said, there will be a lot of mathematics, a lot of statistics, a lot of programming involved already from the first year. And if you counted everything, so that adds up to 10 courses in your first year. Each course is worth 6 credits, so you have 60 credits worth of courses in the first year. And like most universities in the Netherlands, we apply this rule of the binding study advice, which means you need to pass at least 8 of these 10 courses. So you need to collect at least 48 credits in your first year in order to be allowed to continue on to the second and third years. So if you cannot pass at least 8 of these courses in your first year, you will not be allowed to continue with the program. And because we have a rather demanding quantitative program, we have a positive VSAE rate. We have a positive binding study advice rate of about 60 to 70%, which means 30 to 40% of the students who start our programs in the first year, they have to drop out because they don't collect enough credits. This is not to scare you, but just to emphasize that you need to have the right motivation and the right background to do well in these programs. If you do pass the first year, this is what the second year will look like. You see that the mathematics sequence continues, the probability theory and statistics sequence continues. There's statistical learning that's coming in, and you are also starting with more specialized courses. So the 2 courses in pink you can see here, life insurance, mathematics, and risk theory. These are more actuarial flavored courses. And obviously you have Econometrics 1 and Econometrics 2 in the second semester. Those are obviously focused on econometrics. And you can also see that toward the end of the second semester in blocks 5 and 6, the split is already happening between Actuarial Science and Econometrics and Data Science. So in block 5, for example, you have a choice between risk theory and mathematical and empirical finance. While the econometrics and data science people have a choice there, they have to choose one of those courses. Actuarial students don't have a choice, they have to take risk theory there. Also in block 6, there are 2 courses there. The actuarial people take the research seminar in actuarial science and mathematical finance. The econometrics and data science students take the empirical project. So towards the end of the second year, the split already happens. So you should know by the middle of your second year or so, if you want to continue with actuarial science or econometrics and data science. And this is year 3. This is year 3 so in year 3, you split, right? The 2 programs split. If you go with econometrics and data science and with the econometrics track of econometrics and data science, this is what your third year will look like. The first semester is quite flexible, actually. You have a free choice to make. You can choose to take electives. These can be free electives in whatever subject you're interested in. It doesn't have to be related to econometrics or anything, so you can take courses in psychology or some language or whatever you want. So you can broaden your horizons a bit. Or you can do a minor, so you can choose your electives in a specific way so that you actually complete a minor in another field. Or you can choose to study abroad. You can go study in another country, in a university that we have an agreement with. So you can spend this semester in another country. if you want. You can also do an internship in this first semester. The university helps you find internship positions. And this is also like a course, so it counts as, the internship counts as a 12 credit course, and you get a pass or fail grade and so on. Obviously, you will get more information about these options once you get there, once you are in your second year. In the first semester, we have 2 electives that are written here: dynamical systems and optimization. Those are just suggested electives. They are not mandatory. The optimization course, for example, is a good elective because it makes you eligible for the master's program in data science and business analytics if you later on decide to go to that master's program. But again, these are just suggested electives. You are essentially completely free to choose your electives in the first semester. In the second semester, we have again mandatory courses, and these are the courses you will take if you are in the econometrics track. And you can see that at the end of the second semester, you have the bachelor's thesis seminar. So that's where you write your bachelor's thesis, and that's the final step of your bachelor's program. Once you pass your thesis, you are done. If you go for the data science track within the econometrics and data science program, this is what your third year looks like. Once again, the first semester is completely free. These electives that you see in the first semester, they are again suggested electives, not mandatory. You have the same options here in the first semester of doing electives or a minor or studying abroad or doing an internship. In the second semester, again, you have mandatory courses, and the courses text mining and data retrieval and reinforcement learning. These are specific to the data science track. And once again, you have to write your bachelor's thesis at the end. And finally, if you go for the actuarial science program, once again, the first semester is completely free for you to construct. There are some suggested electives here, but you can do whatever you want, essentially. In the second semester, we have these mandatory courses, which are completely focused on actuarial science and mathematical finance. And you, once again, have to write your bachelor's thesis at the end of your third year. So this is essentially what our programs look like. Why should you choose for UvA? Well, a few things we should emphasize. We have a completely English program. We have quite an international atmosphere. The student numbers are half and half, so half Dutch and half international. We also have a lot of international faculty members. We have a lot of data science incorporated into the program. You can actually specialize in data science if you go for econometrics and data science. We offer the unique bachelor's program in actuarial science in the Netherlands. So this is the only university where you can actually get a bachelor's diploma in actuarial science. There are other universities that offer a specialization of actuarial science, but not a separate program. So UvA offers a separate program in actuarial science. You have a moment of choice after 2 joint years. So if you are still undecided between actuarial science and econometrics and data science, you still have, let's say, 1.5 years to decide which program to study. We have a small and active student union, VSAE. You will hear more about them in a minute. They organize a lot of social events, but also a lot of career events to help you navigate your options. You will have excellent career prospects after finishing our programs. Actually, and on the right of your screen, you see top 5 best entry-level jobs, according to the newspaper Het Financiële Dagblad. This was some years ago. And they actually rated actuary as as the best entry-level job you can have. But you can see that, tax advisor is also not too far away for our graduates, and maybe ICT consultant also. Dentist or biochemical technologist, they are rather far away from our specializations, but you can see that the career prospects for our graduates are pretty good, I would say. We have enthusiastic staff, not only teaching staff, but we also have all sorts of support staff for any kind of difficulties you might find yourself in during your studies. And of course, we are located in Amsterdam, which is an excellent city to live in as a young person, I would say. The entry requirements, well, you can check the website for more details on this, but broadly speaking, we have 3 requirements. We do require a high school diploma, which is equivalent to the Dutch VWO. We require mathematics proficiency at level VWO-B, and you might be asked to take an online mathematics exam for us to determine your mathematics level. And we do require English proficiency, of course, because the whole program is in English. And we have a program called UvA matching. So if you're admitted to the program, you will be asked to complete a 1-week online course that will help you assess whether you are a good fit for the program or the program is a good fit for you. The results are not binding, so even if you do badly in this UvA matching, you can still continue to the program, but it will help you maybe to decide if this program is right for you or not. The application deadlines are, as you can see, 1st of April for non-EU students and 1st of May for Dutch or EU students. There are exceptions that might apply to you, so you should see the website for details. I think this is all I want to say about the programs. And now I would like to give the floor to our students so they can share their perspective with you. And maybe they can say a few words about why they chose this program, what they like about it, maybe what they don't like about it. Let's maybe start with Fadzai Njele. She's a student in Actuarial Science. So Fadzai, the floor is yours, and feel free to share your experience.
Thank you so much for the floor, Mr. Chan. Hi, everyone. My name is Fadzai. I'm from Zimbabwe, so I'm an international student here at the UvA, and I am in my 2nd year studying Actuarial Science. I remember being in your position exactly 2 years ago with the choices that you have to make. So I hope in sharing my perspective, you can better make these decisions that you have to make. So I will talk about why I chose to study actuarial science and why I chose the UvA. In high school, I took courses in mathematics and statistics and a few courses in computer science and programming. So I knew already that I wanted to pursue a bachelor's degree where I would get to explore these subjects more. And actuarial science really was the intersection of these subjects because we'll be focusing on courses in mathematics, statistics, economics, and a few programming courses. So this was a perfect fit for me. And why I chose the UvA was because I already knew that I wanted to study in the Netherlands, and the University of Amsterdam was an automatic choice because they have both the bachelor's and the master's degree in actuarial science. And the degree was offered in English. And as an international student, this was very appealing to me as well. And also it was the focus on student success that I saw looking at the website. For example, the Economics and Business Career Center, which is going to help you with everything to do with your career from your 1st year to the year that you graduate. And also the student associations like the VSAE, which Lobke will talk about. So these were basically all the factors that brought me to picking the UvA and picking actuarial science. And with this, I would like to give the floor to Lobke so she can also share her experience. Thank you.
Thank you, Fadzai. So great to see so many maybe prospective econometrics and actuarial science students joining this webinar. I'm here to share a bit on my perspective of why I chose the bachelor's in econometrics for myself. And then I'm also going to introduce you a bit to the VSAE, which we already talked about, is the Student Association or Study Association for Econometrics, Actuarial Science, and Business Analytics here at the UvA. But first about myself, I'm now a 3rd year econometric bachelor student. And I remember when I was choosing, I there's obviously so many options, not only in the Netherlands, but also outside of the Netherlands. And it was very difficult for me to make a choice. I attended lots of these webinars or online open days and stuff like that. And for me, the choice for econometrics was really clear when I saw that there's also just a very good mix of everything. You have, like Umut already showed, a bit of mathematics, a bit of programming, but also a bit of economics and finance, which I find very interesting myself as well. And compared to other programs where it's just math or just programming, this is more of a really a collective program of a lot of things, which I really like. And right now studying that really sort of also shows in the program. I see when I was in my first year, I did a lot of the mathematics, like the groundwork. And in the second year, you really start applying that, which is what I really love about this bachelor's, is that there's really, you see what you can do with your degree after you're finished and after you've graduated. So that's what I really, really value right now. Yeah, so I definitely recommend. And if you have any questions later on for me and Fatsa, you can definitely ask them in the chat and we'll be happy to answer them. And then a bit about our study association, VSAE. As we already said, I'm the chairman, so we organize a lot of events, and I want to talk you through some of them. Our aim is to help our members get the most out of their student life, and that can be in many kinds of ways. One way we try to do it is with social, so we organize monthly drinks where you can, after you've been studying so hard, can get some free drinks, talk with your peers, and just enjoy your student life a bit. And then we also organize a lot of trips. In this year we went to Vienna. We're going to Eindhoven, a city in the Netherlands, in a couple of weeks. But then in previous years we also went to Paris or New York. So there's a lot of different trips which you can join. And for you specifically, there's the introduction camp, which for the students who can start their bachelor's in econometrics or actuarial science next year. You can actually join that intro camp once you've applied for the bachelor's. It's from the 20th to 22nd of August. So all the new students are welcome, and it's really a great way to start your student life. We really see that people who went there really get to start on the social perspective of things. Then we also have mental health, where we do have a coffee committee where we try to help our members who are struggling with a chat, just a coffee where you can just rant and spill everything that you want to say. And in that way, we really hope to help improve your mental health a bit. Then on to the next slide. Thank you. We have study, which is one of the main reasons that you would want to join the VSAE, I think, at first. We offer discounts on books and tutoring. And we also have an online exam database where we have some previous exams which you can practice with when you're studying for your finals. And actually with the book discount, if you buy the books for the first semester or first period, actually, you already get your 20 euro application fee for the association. You already earned that back. So it's really worth joining. And then for career, we offer a lot of different events where you can orient yourself on your future, where you can speak to companies. Some students even got themselves a job there. And we also have our vacancy platform for that, where you can see all the vacancies that different companies have open. And then after your studies, or maybe even during your studies, you can get yourself a vacancy. So I think that's it for us. And maybe I can pass the word back to Umut.
Thank you, Lopke. So this was about VSAE, our student association. Yeah, so what's next? Obviously, you should explore our programs online and compare with other programs. Make sure that this is the right choice for you. You can find out more about our programs by, for example, joining the Student for a Day program, which allows you to come to the campus and spend a whole day with an actual student in the program you're interested in. Go to the classes and tutorials with them, so experience life here on the campus as a student. So the dates are not fixed; it's arranged with you. So make sure to check out this option if you're really interested in these programs. There's also a so-called experience day, which is offered both on campus and online. So this is where you can attend a particular lecture or a tutorial in the program that you're interested in. That should also give you a flavor of what to expect in the program. So this does have a fixed time. So do make sure to check out the website about the details. And once again, the application deadlines, do keep them in mind. It's April 1st for international students, or non-EU students rather, and May 1st for EU or Dutch students. Do I have anything else? No, I think this is it. I hope this has helped you clarify what these programs are about and what we have to offer. And now I would like to open the floor for questions and answers. So if you have any questions for any of us, so it could be for me or for Dr. Koster, for the program director of Econometrics and Data Science, or our students, or our admissions officers. So feel free to ask your questions under the Q&A tab, and we will try to answer them. Okay, so for the questions that are relevant for the general audience, we will answer them live. But if the question is too specific, then we will answer them by typing. So I see one question already that might be relevant to the audience. Do you think the job of an actuarist is in risk of being replaced by AI? I don't think so. So well, AI or advancements, let's say in machine learning or data science and so on, these are making changes in all sorts of jobs, including the job of an actuary. But I don't think they will replace an actuary anytime soon. There are just too many things that you need to be familiar with to make good decisions as an actuary. And I don't think we are at a point yet where we can just let the AI make all the decisions. Yes, they are, well, AI or let's say machine learning algorithms, they do play bigger and bigger roles. And people are constantly trying to figure out more ways to involve AI in decision making, but no, they will not replace human actuaries anytime soon. I see a question for the students. Why did you choose UvA as opposed to Erasmus University for the econometrics program? Do you have a good answer for that, Lopke?
Yes, I really do. Well, obviously, the easy answer for me is to say that we have the VSAE here, which is much more fun than the association in Rotterdam. But that would be an easy answer. No, but what I really like about the UvA is the community that we have here. So, like Fatsa already mentioned, we have a lot of in the university. A lot of these sort of collective working spaces where students can sit together, and there's especially also for international students, there's really a community here where you can not only study here, but also have a social life, which I think it's very important to balance both of them. So we have a lot of open study spaces, and I just like when there's one actually close to our office, and when I walk by, I just see so many students also from different studies, so not within their programs, talking to each other, know each other, who work together, who study together. So that's what I really love about the UvA, is the atmosphere here. I don't know if Fatsai maybe has anything to add.
Not exactly. My choice was a bit automatic because I already knew that I wanted to study actuarial science. So I chose the UvA because, like I mentioned before, they had the bachelor's and the master's in actuarial science already. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. I hope that answered the question. I see a question that's very specific about the Amsterdam Merit Scholarship, so maybe it's better to answer it by typing. Okay, so I see a question about the workload. How is the workload? Is it hard to balance between studying and social life? Maybe I should let our students answer that again. Lobke, would you like to give your perspective?
Definitely. Yeah, no, I think obviously it's a hard study. I'm not going to deny that. It needs a bit of dedication and it needs a bit of work. Yeah, it's a lot of math, it's a lot of studying, and it's also a lot of time for yourself, like personal work where you're not in class, but you're just working by yourself, studying, making exercises. But if you really attend the classes, if you really listen to what people like Maurice or Umut have to say during lectures, then it's doable. You just need a little bit of a mathematic sort of mathematic thumb, I would say in Dutch. So yeah, it's doable, and like the association is sort of proving, it's really doable to have a social life on the side and do a lot of other stuff. But you just have to find the balance and what works for you. For some people, it works to just work from 9 to 5 on their studies. For other people, they just have to do it at times where they're motivated and they really have a lot of focus. But if you figure out a way for yourself that works, then it's definitely doable. And I don't think that's something specific to econometrics. That's just something for studying at university in general. It's hard, but you'll get there.
Yes, thank you, Lobke. Fatsai, do you have anything to add about the work-life balance, let's say?
Well, Lobke has generally said the majority of it, but I will also add on that what has really helped me as well was to make friends and have a lot of discussions together, because sometimes the way you understand a concept could be different from the way another student understands the concept as well. So it's very difficult, but it's at times if you try to understand everything by yourself, but if you can form groups with other students and discuss together and try to be on schedule with all the content that you're given, it is very manageable.
Thank you. Maurice, did you want to say something about this?
Well, I want to react on a couple of other
okay, yeah, go ahead.
There's one question that showed up more than once. If you need to have a basis in programming before starting our bachelor's, well, that's not required. We start from scratch. But as many things in life, if you already are experienced doing programming, yeah, of course that's good, right? So, but it's not really required. Also, a question. So I hope this question is answered like this. Another question that popped up a couple of times is about if you want to pursue a career in finance, if then our program is the good choice. Well, I truly think that's the better choice, because what is lacking for finance students who do it through economics, then later on they have problems with the math inside of finance. It's a very mathematical discipline. So I think in this regard, it's your best choice would be either actuarial science or econometrics. And there's also, I must say, a track designed for finance in econometrics is called financial econometrics. So if you are people are working on financial analysis and stock exchange, well, that's typical the type of study you want to do. So I hope this also answers the question.
Is the content of the program very abstract? That there are also a couple of questions about that. I would say we are trying to keep a balance between the abstract side of things. So yes, there is some abstract math, also within statistics, there is a lot of mathematics involved. But we do try to emphasize the applications as well, because this is not a math program, obviously. So we always try to so you learn about mathematics, mathematical models, but for the purpose of modeling some real life situations. So we always try to keep the connection to economic applications. So yeah, so there are abstract parts of the program, but we do try to keep it sort of based in real life.
There's another question about the median starting salary for graduates from econometrics students, not after MSc, but after BSc only. But that's very hard to tell. Since most of our students, they will continue with a master's. So we have a couple of students who start as a kind of trainee doing data analysis like they would do after the master's. But for most students, it's a more logical way is just first to do an MSc. And then the salaries are just great. So I think the people who choose to work after the BSc also have a good time career-wise, but yeah, it's not. In fact, the study is really done after 4 years, I would say. Maybe you disagree, Umut, or do you agree?
No, I agree. I definitely agree, and I think the people who start working directly after the bachelor's, in some cases they will come back in a couple of years to get a master's. So a master's is pretty yeah, it's pretty common to complete your program with a master's, and we do have some statistics about the starting salaries after the master's, and I think they can be found on the websites for the specific master's programs. But I don't think we have separate statistics for the salary after the bachelor's, because, yeah, as Maurice mentioned, most students do go for a master's at some point.
Here's a nice question. How many students are enrolled in these programs? Well, we now have about 60 actuarians in the first year, right, Umut?
Yes. 60.
And about 250 econometricians. So that's about, in total, in the first 2 years, about 300, let's say. One thing is that also in the first year, there's also the group of business analytics. So that's also about 200. But you have all designated groups. So it might not seem as big as it looks. And there's no limit of students. That's also a question that was asked a couple of times. No, we don't have a fix. So we only look at entry requirements, and if you pass those requirements, you get admitted. Yeah, so there's no limit on students. But it's a good question, because there are studies where we have numerous fixes. How does your data science program compare to economics and business economics bachelor? Well, economics and business economics is not as scientific in this sense when we talk about data. So if you want to study data, if that's your main interest, then you should definitely do something like actuarial science or econometrics.
There's a question for international students in particular. Maybe Fadzai can help answer it. Is it easy to acclimatize in Dutch students and system? Would you recommend to any other fellow international students to learn Dutch before coming? And any other advice for international students? So I would personally say that, well, first of all, Dutch is not needed. The program is in English. And as I said, it is quite an international environment here. As I said, half of the student body is international, and you hear more English than Dutch on campus most of the time. So in that sense, it is quite a welcoming environment for international students. I don't know if Fadzai has anything to add.
Yes, I do agree, because I've also survived the past year and 3 months without speaking Dutch. So it's very okay to live here without speaking Dutch. And if you do decide that you want to learn Dutch, the UvA also has a Dutch course that you can take as well as part of your studies. So, yeah.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, are there any practical parts, or is the program mainly focused on academics? So the practical, obviously this is a university program, so we do focus on, the main focus is on academics. You do learn about how to implement or how to apply the various models or methods that you learn. And if you want more hands-on experience, we do offer this the curricular internship option. As I mentioned, in the first semester of your third year, you have the option of doing an internship for credit. So that will allow you to actually go work in a company and well, you know, write internship reports, and you can see firsthand what kind of work you can do. And so we do offer that practical experience. So can a student work in more technical related field and startups after econometrics and data science? I will say yes, but Maurice, do you want to say more about it?
Yeah, there are people working in the field of climate research, and they are studying dynamics of climate models. So that's a completely different feature. But okay, if you have some quantities and they are somehow connected, then the econometrician would just look at the rules that define these kind of models. Also, to mention something that some of our students are doing is they work for the Antonie van Leeuwenhoek Hospital, and it's they do cancer research, and they work on sequencing of DNA, and they work on statistically analyzing these yeah, I would say biological sequences, right? So it's a very different field, but it just shows the reach of what you can do with data analysis. You see it all around and in all types of fields. So it's very typical that also in our department, I work in a team with mathematicians and physicists, and so there's a mix of we have a common ground in science, and our approach is more data oriented, where if you study physics, it might have a different flavor, but in the end, some functions will be the same in their field as in our field. So it's a very long answer, but I think yes, you can do other stuff after our BSc, and there's also a connecting master's in mathematics. If you study econometrics, if you choose the right courses in your elective space, then you can go also on a more technical university.
Does actuarial science or econometrics contain more mathematics? I would say both contain an equal amount of mathematics, and as I said, yeah, the first 2 years are essentially identical. So and most of the math, well, all of the math courses you take in your first 2 years. So yeah, so there's an equal amount of math in both programs.
There's a question about research opportunities available for undergrads. Well, your thesis is a research project. That's one. If you mean if there are research opportunities outside, yeah, there's Lopke, you have an analytics academy. Maybe you can say something about the
Yep. Yeah, definitely. We have a project where we, well, like Marie said, Analytics Academy, where our students, our members, sort of act as consultants for non-profit companies. So, for example, a project we worked on is something with like food waste. A lot of supermarkets, a lot of like places here selling food, they have a lot of waste because of like the date when the food goes bad. And there was a project from a company, I actually don't remember the name, but they were trying to solve that issue, and that was the NGO. And they didn't have enough knowledge on data science, on econometrics, on any type of anything like that. So they asked us for help, and our student actually helped them resolve the issue, but come up with an answer.
I don't recall it, but there's a question on which of the courses was suitable for a career as quantitative trader or investment banker. Or are they suitable at all? I would say yes, they are pretty much suitable. We have our masters. Well, this question has been asked more than once, so that's why I again will respond to that. We have financial econometrics, and our people are also working at Optiver. It's option trade, so quantitative trading. So yeah, people are doing this, but it's a specialization, I would say, within our domain, because it's the domain of econometrics is broader than this.
And the same applies for actuarial science as well. So our master's program is actually called Actuarial Science and Mathematical Finance. So if you follow actuarial science, then you can also do the master's in actuarial science and mathematical finance, and that will certainly qualify you to work as a quant in the industry. That's not the only way of working as a quantitative analyst, but after our programs, you can definitely work in a quantitative role as a financial analyst.
Also another question, can you do a master's in management or MBA after this study? I would say, well, the list of masters that we gave is not exclusive, in the sense that there are many other masters you might want to pursue. And yes, there are people doing courses in management afterwards. So basically, it's I would say it's almost an ideal. One of our studies is ideal to have an analytic view on things, and people are really wanted also in management positions afterwards, after graduating in our BSc or MSc, just for that. So I would say yes, also these studies are kind of a good preparation for MBA or Masters in Management.
What programming languages are mainly taught in this program? So we focus on R and Python. So the main focus has been on R for the last few years, but increasingly we are also using more and more Python, because there's more data science in our curriculum, and Python is more or less the standard for data science, and R is more or less the standard for statistics and statistical applications. So we expose students to both R and Python. Yeah, there has been a few questions about housing. Yeah, question to students: how long did it take you to find housing? I don't know if Fadzai or Lopke have an input on this.
Yeah, I can answer, but I think it's also nice to hear Fadzai as an international student. For myself, I actually live quite close, or my parents live quite close to Amsterdam. So for the first 3 years of my studies, I actually lived there and just traveled by train. But right now I live in Amsterdam. I think I've been living somewhere in the west of the city since January, and I started looking in October. My personal tip would be to really look on Facebook, because they have these amazing groups where people post listings, new rooms that come available. So that's how I found my room, and I would really recommend that. But I don't know if Fadzai has anything to add from the international perspective.
Thank you, Lopke. For me, I was a bit lucky because the UvA helps international students with housing in your first year. So they have a lottery system where they can help you find student housing. So when you come in as a first year, it's kind of easier. I would advise though that before you do come to the UvA, you register for other student housing websites like room.nl and Student Bonding Web, because they do have a waiting time for giving students accommodation. So I was a bit lucky in finding accommodation early, but it can be a bit difficult to find housing in Amsterdam. So looking earlier is what I could advise. Yeah.
So is it a lot of reading articles, research theory, or more practical studying like math? I would say for most of the program, we will not require you to read articles. You will just well, attend lectures and tutorials, and you will learn all you need to learn from the lectures directly. Of course, towards the end of your program, especially for the thesis, you will need to do some more reading, some articles to help you help give you an idea about your thesis, what you can do in your thesis. So I would say it's so it does come. So reading articles or research, it is part of the program, but it comes really towards the end. I don't know if Lobke or Fatsai have anything to add.
Yeah, in the books, there's not anything that's not or not anything relevant that's not discussed in the lectures. So if you really attend the lectures and listen, that's all the theory you're gonna need. You can obviously read all the theories again after the lecture. And there are sometimes in the books there's some additional theories, but those are not expected to be known for most exams. So after you had a lecture, you usually apply what you learned during the lecture, the theories that you used there during a seminar or a tutorial, which is really nice because then you can actually apply all the theories. So I would say it's more practical than it's a lot of reading.
Okay. Another question for the students: is the course's workload manageable for someone with a part-time job? I would say it would be difficult. Our programs do require quite a bit of time investment. But yeah, so the question is posed for the students, so maybe I will let them answer. So is it manageable? Is the course load manageable for someone with a part-time job?
I think in the first year not, because you have your VSA. There's a lot of students who, after they've gotten their VSA and been accepted into the second year, they then take like an extra year to do something like a part-time job or a committee or something like that on the side. But yeah, especially in the first year, I would not consider doing a part-time job on the side because it's just a lot of adjusting. Like university is very different, so it takes some adjusting. And you really need that time.
So there's a question of how does a usual week look like for a student? Maybe Maurice can help answer that. So how many lectures or tutorials?
Yeah, so in the beginning, in the first semester, in the first period, you get Mathematics 1. And for Mathematics 1, you have 2 times 2 lectures of 2 hours of lecture. And in between, you have working groups, so tutorials, which also each are 2 hours. And we also have skills and something called that we want to address the problem of studying at a university. So you get also study skills there. It's also weekly 2 hours. So if I add up for one course, there would be 4 hours of tutorials, 4 hours of lecture and skills. So there would be 10 hours. And this is one course, and you also have macro, it's 6 hours per week. So it's about 16 hours spread over the week. We try to evenly spread it out, but usually we have a kind of system that you start with 2 hours of lecture, then afterwards you have 2 hours that you work on a tutorial, and then you have 2 hours of lecture and 2 hours of tutorial again. So that's a little bit the rhythm in the week, and this holds for all courses. Mostly you have 2 courses at the same time. So you can imagine how a week would look like.
Okay, so I see there are a couple of questions that we didn't manage to answer, but it's already past 4 o'clock. So I propose that we finish the session. I would like to thank all the participants for coming to this session, both the participants from UvA and the audience. I hope we were able to answer most of your questions and help clarify a few things in your mind. If you still have questions, of course, you're welcome to send your questions by email through the website. And yes, we hope to see you here in September. And good luck with all your studies and with your decisions about the university.